Alright, as you can see, if you look around, we're a little late on people. I hope the other half of the class comes in quickly. But I am taping this. I sent you an email this morning with this material in it, and I'm going to go over a bit of that material today. Alright, so the first thing that we'll go over in just a couple minutes, I found these online, I thought they were pretty good, is an article called The Essential Guide to a Stellar Design Portfolio. What I like about it is that basically it applies to any website. It's not just, I mean, it is pretty portfolio specific, but the stuff that's in there can be used to apply towards any website. Then there's another article. It's called How I Built My Design Portfolio from Scratch. I don't think it's as good, but it's a good article. Okay. Last week we started with Balsamiq. I had you download the Balsamiq package, now called wireframes, previously called Balsamiq mockups. But I had you go and download that to your system. So we're going to look at a project, why you might want to use it, and you are going to use it. All right. In addition, we're going to go over this article. We're going to actually do this as a class. But if you have any kind of problems, I've already completed it, and I saved it for you and sent it to you. And then finally, we're going to start today. I'm going to have you design this website for this woman, Caitlin Kincaid of Arrow Bridge Rescue. So we'll talk about that, and I've also sent you the material she's given me so far. I don't like the format of the material that she's given me, but we'll talk about that too in just a couple minutes. Okay? All right, so taking it from the top then, first thing I'd like to do is talk a little bit about this Essential Guide to a Stellar Design Portfolio. I sent you the links, the hyperlinks to these three articles rather than send you all the articles, you know, and I thought that would be easier for you. So, as it says, it's a step-by-step design tutorial to help you create the ultimate representation of your talents. Well, this is what you're doing. Now, you're doing two things this week. You are finishing up all the homework from chapters 10 through 16, including the first pass of your design portfolio. The other thing that you're doing this week is you are starting on this website. All right? So, one thing they talk about in here, and I don't know, the only reason I bring up stuff like this is I'm not sure how much you have or have not heard of this stuff. So the first thing that's discussed up here is Google Analytics. And Google provides some free analytics that you can add to a website. I would strongly suggest that at least for the site that you'll be creating for Ms. Kincaid, that you go look into that and add that. What does that show? How many people, you know, how many different IP addresses have hit the site? All right, how popular the site is, etc. When people came to the site, what pages did they look at? What pages did they not look at? How long did they remain on the site? If somebody comes out to the site and they're literally there for 3 seconds, you probably are going to guess they got there in error. You know, they meant to go someplace else type of an idea. All right. But things that you should be thinking about. Make your navigation crystal clear. All right. In other words, don't use fancy words. If the site is going to have 3 different pages, a home page, an about page, and a contact page, then call those links home, about, and contact. All right. It's not, again, like I said, it's a lot of the stuff that's in here. It's not rocket science as far as how it's set up. All right. Create additional portfolios on other sites. I had not been out to any of these sites before this, but there is one called Behance and another one called Dribble, which I think is kind of a funny name. All right. But what you can do is you can literally, as it says, you can create your own site. You can put it out there. Why would you want to do that? It's just another mechanism that people, you know, another way for people to see what it is you're trying to do. Now, all of you in here have already displayed to me, you know, varying amounts of talent. The point is, we don't know. So let's assume that it is now May 2021. All right. So, 2022 for you guys, or December for you. You know, you get the idea. But it's time to graduate. We don't know what the world's going to look like then. Hopefully we'll have a vaccine. We won't be wearing these masks. You know, things will be back pretty much to normal. That said, I had 9 people who graduated last May, and One person who was one gen ed class short, he doesn't respond to my emails, so I don't know where he is. The point is this. To my knowledge, out of those 9 people, I think 2 of them have gotten jobs in the field. That's not good. That's not good for me. That's not good for the institution. All right. And that's so what does that mean? That means that you should start working on your portfolio now. All right. You may want to contact different places. All right. And ask. I mean, if you know someone this summer, let's say, if you know of someone who needs a website, volunteer to do it for them for free. All right, I'm going to have a Zoom call at noon today with another person. This is a woman. She runs her own health studio. I don't know if it's out of her house or not. We have not talked in person, just electronic, actually just through texts. All right, and she wants a site also. All right, but stuff like that. Get your name out there. Get experience. Get references. All right. I know, and I will send you guys this, that one of my students who graduated about 3 or 4 years ago, he's worked at a couple different places. Unfortunately, he's had good jobs, but he's lost a couple of them, not through any fault of his own, but he's lost them through COVID. One of them was with an educational institution. He was doing work for them, but they let everybody go, with COVID. All right, so he is now at MasterCard. And evidently at MasterCard, which is a pretty big employer, all right, they are willing. They have internships and the like. Now, it's a good news, bad news. The bad news is they use Java, and you don't go through Java in here until your last semester. The good news is it's possible to have other things. All right, I'm trying to check into that stuff right now. All right. So when it says create additional portfolios on other sites, I'm going to take it even further than that. Okay. What I will do by the end of this semester, and it'll seem early for most of you in here, but that still is okay. What I typically do is once a semester is I bring in 1 or 2 people who are IT recruiters. And I have them come in there and talk to you. All right. Now, a couple of years ago, one of my students who was graduating, he said, I've often thought of having 2 different portfolios. One of them that had my schoolwork, he said, but I've also created some games. And another one, because he said, I really wouldn't mind becoming a game programmer. He said, I know I don't have the experience yet. And he said, would that be stupid to make 2 different portfolios? And the woman who was there, Megan Mueller, she said, no, that's a good idea. But you should tailor it over what you're applying for. So if you're applying for a job as an application programmer, you probably don't want to send the gaming one out, and vice versa. Right? But it's all different. Everyone's different. I don't know how what your experience is, how much you have or have not done, etc. All right. So you can go out there and take a look at those, at the Behance and the Dribble if you have any interest in that. This is an important thing. Tell a story. All right. In just a few minutes, we're going to look at the Zoom meeting that I had. It's almost embarrassing because I realized later it's basically my little head in the corner and her little head underneath mine. And then there's just a lot of screen that most of the time has nothing on it. But it's okay. You're going to see what she's looking for. But one of the things that Caitlin Kincaid is looking for is, 2 of the things. One is she wants the site to be simple. Simple and intuitive. Why? Because by her own admission, she's not a tech person. Okay? The stuff that she sent me so far, she sent me some good pictures. I've sent all those to you this morning. She sent me some good pictures. She sent me some backstories on some of the animals that she takes care of. The bad thing is she embedded the pictures right inside of a Word document. That makes it almost impossible for us to pull those pictures out and actually use them. All right? Can you do it? Yes. But why should we have to do that much work? All right? So I've asked her if she can send me the pings or the JPEGs, etc. And she got back to me this morning and she said, well, this is getting to be kind of hard because it's only letting me send 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 at a time. And I said, yeah, that's because most ISPs, most internet service providers, provide a limit over the size of files that you can send. Sometimes it's numbers, sometimes it's size, sometimes it's both. Rankin, for example, it'll allow you to send stuff that's bigger than 5 meg, but it likes it to be 5 meg or less. All right, so I've got a Charter account, and I use that a lot of times when I'm sending stuff out because that'll usually go up to, it's either 25 or 35 meg. All right. Okay, but she wants her story told. In an ideal world, what she has told me, now she runs this thing, and again, if you don't remember me saying this, she provides two services. One is it's kind of a dog, and I guess cat also, hospice. So when you've got an animal that you really can't take care of anymore, she'll take care of it. Now she's not an old cat lady. It's nothing like that where she's got 50 or 60 of them. Right now she's got, I think she said 4 or 5, and that's usually what she has. All right, but she wants people to know what she does. The fact that she makes no money out of this. And when animals need surgery, she typically will do fundraisers, etc. So she'll want to find a way, to basically have people pay for it. All right, and that's her story. All right, that's a lot of what her story is. Plus, what she does is occasionally she does her own fundraisers where they make T-shirts and some other stuff. So again, we'll talk about that stuff a little bit later. But notice on here when they talk about the portfolio, make sure it's user-centered. It should be all about you. And one thing they'll say later, and I'm just saying this to you right now. You might be one of those like, well, duh, but I can't be more serious than what I'm about to tell you. And that is, don't ever lie on these things. All right. I worked on a project when I was a programmer, and there were two departments working on the project. The department that I'm in, morning, and another department. Okay, and we probably had 70 total people working on it. Did I do my share? I mean, it was my first project, so probably not, to be honest with you. But the other department had some really, really good people in it. Not that ours didn't, but the other ones, they had a lot of people who ended up getting promoted based on this project. All right. The reason I'm telling you this is I went and listened when somebody who was in the other department, they gave like more or less a summary of what they'd done. When you listen to the person talk, you would have thought that she did literally 100% of the work and the other people were just there. And later, I asked a couple people that I knew pretty well from that department about it, and they were, pardon my French, they were pissed. And she ended up getting promoted, and she was the only one from her department who got promoted over this. Now, I'm not saying she didn't deserve to be promoted because she was a very talented programmer. But the point is, she burned some bridges doing that. And you don't want to do stuff like that. Plus, and I think, again, you've already heard this kind of thing, but anything you put on a portfolio, just like anything you put on a resume, you better be ready, willing, and able to back up in an interview. And again, I've mentioned this before. You may have heard this, I don't know. But I'll always remember this. Years ago, I went in for an interview, and I had a bunch of classes that I'd taken while I was going for my degree. And one of them I put down, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was a very obscure class, but it had a neat name, so I put it down. And one of the people interviewing me said, hey, I took that class too. What'd you think of it? And I immediately just spaced. I couldn't remember a flaming thing about it. And I spent about a minute hemming and hawing, and he turned around and he said, you don't even remember it, do you? And I said, no, I don't. And he said, well, you shouldn't put that on your resume then. And he was right. All right. It probably didn't win me any points with him either. Okay? All right. So again, tell the story. And if you are going to, let's say you have a resume, and on that resume you have a job objective. A lot of people do. Some people do, some don't. Do not change the job objective every single time to make it look exactly like what they're asking for in the app. People don't expect that. All right, I've seen that kind of thing. When I was at AT&T, the last 2 years I was there, I was on the interview committee. I probably interviewed 300 people over that amount of time. And it was amazing when we put an ad in, the number of people who would put down for their objective exactly what we put in for the ad. Word for word. You don't do that. All right. Okay. Well, with some of this, it should make sense. Find out who you're competing with. If you're planning on graduating when you graduate and staying here, you're going to be competing with each other, whether that's fair or not. Now, some of you may want to go down the programming route. Some of you may want to go down the web route. And I don't mean that web doesn't have programming, because yes, it does. But the point is, that's what a lot of it will be. And it'll be all of you. It'll be people from other schools, etc. All right. Create a nice intro and about me page. This is really important. All right. And this about me page is not typically your home page. All right. I don't know about that picture, etc. But you get the idea. You want something that is uniquely you. All right. Now, one of my students, one of the two who's graduated and got a job, okay, she on her about page, she's really into horses. In fact, she teaches riding. And there's a picture of her and a horse. Now, I probably myself wouldn't have put it the picture she put. There's nothing wrong with it. But she told me she got a lot of positive feedback from it. All right. So like I said, it should be something that's reflective of you. All right. Okay. Here's another one. You know, again, I think that's kind of a cheesy picture. Maybe it's a nice one. I don't know. Use testimonials. This is, I think, going to become very important, especially too in the website that you'll be doing for Ms. Kincaid. It would be nice if we could have her talk to people who she has helped and put their picture in there and a little blurb about them. It humanizes stuff. You may want to do that on your own portfolio as well. All right, I've seen people do that where they have a contact page and then maybe, you know, you only have the contact page you typically put on a web portfolio, yours is going to be small. You know, you might ask for a name, an email address, and a message, or a first name and a last name, an email address, and a message. Typically, you don't ask for a lot more than that. You can, but typically you don't. So sometimes what people do is they put testimonials under there. All right? Okay. Don't pretend to be a UX unicorn. What they're saying here is no one's great at everything. You might say, oh, well, you don't know me. No, I don't. But my guess is you're very good at a lot of things, but you're probably great at a few things. That's how most people are. All right? And maybe I'm humble. I don't know. I don't think I'm great at anything. I don't. I always kid my wife because the things I told her that I do best in my life, she has absolutely no part of. All right? And, you know, why? Because otherwise, if it's something she has a part of, you know, and I love her for this, I really do. But a lot of times she'll give me her thoughts even if they're not asked for. All right? So what they're saying is rather than this, where this is all the stuff you know really, really, really well, and this might be other stuff, most people, they say, are more hybrid. So concentrate on what you know really, really well. All right. This one is changed over time. It used to be you put your most relevant stuff first, but you shouldn't. You should put your best stuff first, whatever that best stuff is. If you go through 4 semesters here and you decide, as an example, all right, let's say that Angie's is chosen for this Aero Bridge Rescue website, and she thinks that's the best thing I did while I was here. That's what she should have first. All right, and one of the things that they'll say in here too is you want quality as opposed to quantity. Don't feel like you've got to put in 15 things just so you can put in 15 things. All right? All right. Create a promising preview. People should be able to look at it and figure out what it is, and it should be easy for them to figure out what they want to do, how to get there, etc. That stuff should make sense to them. Get over the NDA. And NDA is a non-disclosure agreement, if you don't know. The thing about that is, let's pretend, for example, that it's not. But let's say that Ms. Kincaid, for this Aero Bridge, let's just pretend it was an actual company. And you went to work there, and you were her web designer, okay? And now you've been there 3 or 4 years. You've been offered another opportunity for more money someplace else, whatever, so you leave. Well, the stuff that you've created for her is hers. It's not like you can go and take that stuff with you. All right? You might say, well, you know, I can just give a link to the site, and that's true. But there might be something special that you did that you want to show other people. Don't think that you can just do that. All right? You may be able to, you may not. Now, of course, anything that you create in here, of course you can do that. All right. Don't say you don't have any projects. And I've heard this from people. Well, I've got nothing to show people. That's not true. And if it is, start working on projects. They give a link in here, and one of the reasons I gave you this article is there are links throughout it. This one that's called Daily UI Challenge, that's what it is. Every day they'll ask that you go out and you build this or you build that. Now, you don't have to do it every day. You don't turn it into anybody, etc. but it's something that you can do. It's something where you can get some experience. All right. I already said the quality over quantity. All right. Describe in detail. What they're talking about is when you are talking about a project, you don't want to just give a picture of the project where you take a screenshot, a title, and that's it. It's nice to explain what it was, and they show you this. You know, they give you a little template for more or less of what you can do. The purpose of the project, what was the objective, etc. You know, one of the things that's in here that's not really mentioned here, but it sort of is, what did you learn from it? What did you bring to this project, and what did you learn from it? What people want to do is, I mean, let's face it, good, bad, or indifferent, people can build websites. And even if you don't know how to build a website, you can go out to a Wix or something like that. You could claim it was yours. When people hire you, much of what they're hiring you on is if you do get an interview, it's how you perform in the interview. But if you don't get an interview, or if it's like it is today where it's Zoom or whatever, a lot of it's going to be based on what did you do? What story did you tell and how did you tell it type of an idea. All right. They go through the process in here, and you'll notice it never ends. All right. Yeah, you're supposed to do all this stuff, but you can be at any point in the process and have to back up. All right. And then they explain what each one of these are. I don't want to read to you. All right. It says craft a strong narrative. It should be about you and your work. That's what it is. All right. Prioritize information. Demonstrate problem-solving skills. These are all things that ideally, at least, well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Show you can communicate concisely and well. You know, again, it's amazing. I always found it amazing. Two things. All right. One of them you'll understand. The other one you might not believe, but I swear to God this is true. When I was on this hiring team, when I worked for AT&T, all right, the number of resumes that we got in with gross spelling errors was incredible. You know, that people didn't take the time to go through and spell check it, have somebody else spell check it, etc. I mean, when I saw that, it just blew me away. The other thing, and again, I can't make up stuff this good. We had a person come in once, and they had their full military garb on, which was fine. They had just gotten released from the military, all right? And that wasn't the big thing. The thing was when they gave their resume, they asked how many people they were going to interview with, and there were 6 of us. They were all done in pencil. Every resume, and they were beautiful. I'm serious. Great writing and everything else, but you know, when that person left, you know, we always met as a group, and the first thing everybody said was, "Who the hell does their resume in pencil?" You know, and it was basically, and it was a woman, and it was a veteran. We wanted to hire this person. All right. Well, the way they came across in the interview didn't help them either. So, all right. Describe the impact of your work. Why is what you did important, not just to you, but hopefully to other people? Don't obsess over visual showcases. You know, it's the message, is what they're saying here. Don't focus on just the destiny. Yeah, some of that stuff, okay. Don't exaggerate your contribution. Like I said, don't lie. All right? So that was the first one. The next one, I thought this was interesting too, how I built my design portfolio from scratch. Now, this is from a young lady named, I don't probably pronounce it wrong anyway, Jingyi Lai. And this actually is her portfolio that she did build from scratch. Now, it's not everything. Notice it says email if you want the full portfolio. All right, which I thought was actually kind of neat. And the about page looked like this. Not really very much in it when you think about it. And there's a link in there for downloading the resume. All right. But when you start to look through this, you know, why they said why they decided to build their own portfolio. And they were using a template that was about $15 a month, so that's $180 a year that a person may or may not have. All right. And they give some examples in here of things that you can use. All right, there's WordPress, there's now Webflow. I've never even looked at Simplist. I don't know what that is. All right. So they spent 2 months working on this. Well, if you've got another job, you're probably not going to spend 100% of your time on it. Whether your job is student or you're a student and you're working someplace. All right. So why do you need a portfolio? To look for a job. All right. What about users? We all hope that visitors to the portfolio can get the information they need. Well, that's why they're going out there at least. All right. This was the other article right here. All right. But so much of this stuff, and we're only going to spend about a minute on this because it's the stuff you already heard. Pick projects and tell stories. All right. Some of the stuff that you might want to think of is very similar in that way to the other article, although they're written by two different people. They put a table of contents in here, all right, which I'd never seen before. All right. Design structures and visuals. All right. They wanted to figure out the structure of their site. I'm going to ask that when you start on this site for this Arrow Bridge, or that what you do is you wireframe it. And you're going to know what that is much better by the end of the period today. All right. And they walk through how they did wireframing, etc., for the different pages. All right. They mentioned that they had very limited experience in coding, some HTML, some CSS, and almost no JavaScript. Kind of where you are, I would guess, for most of you at least. All right. They said their biggest challenge was the lack of front-end framework. Now, I'm going to suggest that you do this website that you're going to be creating for Caitlin Kincaid, you do it in Bootstrap. Because not only A, will it help you learn Bootstrap better, but B, there's a lot of stuff built into it already, which I think is going to make it easier for you as you run your way through it. All right. And they talked about in here CSS Fallback. And what she mentions is she thought she created a really good site, but then she started to test it on older browsers, and it didn't work at all. So the CSS Fallback, she used CSS Grid, which we've talked about. But what she said was Grid didn't work on older versions of basically anything in Internet Explorer. Just broke it. All right. Hosting, that's not really that big a thing. And they even mentioned GitHub Pages in here, which we already know about. So accessibility, you never know who's going to be looking at your resume. You really don't. Even if you think you do, you don't. All right, and then they talk about different ways to promote their portfolio, that they uploaded it to their social media, and I'm not going to read any of that stuff. One thing that I have always been told, you may agree with this, you may not. I already mentioned LinkedIn.com to you and the fact that if you don't have a LinkedIn page, you really should get one. Don't just throw your whole resume out there. What you really typically, what most people do is they summarize their resume and they put it out there. All right. Sharing with other designers, submitting this. There's a thing called UX Design Weekly. This person submitted their portfolio link, and they said they were lucky they got accepted. And when they did, they got 500 visits just that week. It's just, well, that's what you want, is you want people to take a look at what you're doing. All right? And to give some tools and resources. I'm not going to run through any of these, but you can take a look at them yourselves, again, as you have an interest or not. All right. So we're going to start on this right now. Let me show you what the end product will look like. All right. This is what they have you build in here. All right. It is a site, and the site has in it, I'm not sure why it's, I'll close that, but I don't remember how. But I want to show you this when we run it, what it'll look like. So where was this? Edit, view, full screen presentation. This is what they have you build in here. Okay, so this is the home page. I know this arrow is really annoying, but that's just the way they've got it set up. Is there a way to fix it? There very well could be. I've never checked. So if I want to go to the home page, I click there. There's my home page. There's my products page. There's the About Us page. And there's the Contact Us page. Now, is it beautiful? No. Literally, I spent about 10 or 15 minutes making this. All right? And it's not that I'm that good, because I'm sure as heck not. I had not used Balsamiq markup in probably a good year. So I just followed the stuff that was in the document. All right? So what I'm going to ask is that we all do this right now, just so you get at least a limited idea. You're not turning it in. I've already emailed you this final product. But I'd still like you to walk through it so you have some kind of an idea of what you're doing. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up Balsamiq wireframes. And I don't want the one that I've got. I want another one. All right, so I'm going to start off with a blank form in here. Now, I do want you to understand something. Please listen to this. And that is the document that I'm going to use to have us do this out of. The document is about 3 or 4 years old. So some of the stuff has changed a little bit in the software. You can still do everything that's in here. But again, some of it has changed a little bit as far as what you do and how you do it. So I'm going to walk through that stuff with you. All right? This is not the only tool there is that's like this. All right? Mr. Smith, now I had done it originally, and he kind of took over from this, has got contacts from the Balsamiq place themselves, and he has set this up. Now, I could do the same thing. In the past, I've already gotten my own. We had our own key for this campus. I figured this year, why even do that? All right, so we're just using the one for the St. Louis campus. It doesn't matter. All right, and again, I believe what we have lasts until the end of December in 2021. All right, so not the end of this year, but the end of next year. What does that mean? That means that we'll have to make sure that we get another one next year, and I'll give you that one. All right, okay. So again, the concept, as they say, is to create a 3-page website for a company. There is a home page, a products and services page, I guess 4 pages, an about us page, and a contact us page. So those are the 4 pages. There will be some copying and pasting in here. All right, there's some stuff in here. I just want to run through this with you fairly quickly. I don't want to spend an hour on this. I really don't. My hope is we'll get done with this at 9 o'clock. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the site for Ms. Kincaid, and then the rest of the period will be yours. All right. So you got all that, and I'm going to jump to the next page here. Okay. So what it does is literally it walks you through how to create all this stuff, starting, with the home page. So this is what we're going to do. It might seem like a waste of time, and if it does, I'm sorry. So I'm taking 20 minutes out of your life. All right? But I think it's worthwhile. Okay? So what we want to do is we're going to want to create 4 pages. They actually tell you the size and stuff to make this. So this is what we're going to do. With Balsamiq up and running right here, there's nothing here yet. Okay? So I'm going to come in here, and this right here, if you look up everybody up here, this is called your quick add bar. You use that all the time. All right. Also, just so you know, you may care, you may not care. You see this down here with all the tools? If you look, there's a lot of stuff here that isn't shown. You see that? So you can get to that stuff in 2 ways. If you know the name of it, you can type it into the quick add bar up here. And if you don't know the name of it, you can search in the toolbar. All right? I think that what we type in here, if I remember, is just the word browser. Yeah. Or just brow, And if you look in here, notice what it has. I don't even know what all that stuff in here is. I mean, I know what Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari is, Edge is. I can figure out what chain broken is. The bullhorn, I imagine you're trying to send some kind of message, but I don't even know. All right, we want to choose the first one that says browser window. All right, so if you click on that, you can see what it does. It brings this in here. All right, if you notice that right now that's what's active. If you want to unactivate it, so to speak, you just click out here, and you notice it turns white. All right, it's not a big thing, but I just wanted you to see that. All right, okay. So the first thing is, well, this doesn't really have any kind of a name to it. It's right now called New Wireframe. Everybody see that? So I'm going to right mouse click over here on the left, and I'm going to choose Rename. And instead of New Wireframe 1, I'm just going to call this Home. I mean, we don't worry about index.html, contact.html. Don't worry about that stuff. All right? I mean, if you really want to do that, I guess you can, but it makes no sense in this. It saves it with, I believe it's a .bmpr extension. So to put .html in here doesn't make any sense really to the software anyway. So I changed it to Home. I'm clicking Rename, and there it is. All right. Now, right now there's nothing on it. All right. And I get all that stuff. But what they tell us to do in here, and I'm going to grab it from here, because I think it's easier to read and to go over than to follow what's in the on the website. This is the same thing. I just threw it into a Word document. That's all. All right, so again, a home page, that's what we're on now. We'll have a product and services page, an About Us page, and a contact page. This right here, we are wireframing. What that means is we're giving a picture of what we anticipate the website will look like. All right, it may change over time. The chances of the first wireframe that we put in there having 4 pages on it and having them never ever change are fairly remote. Now that should make sense to all of you, all right? Because, you know, again, it's kind of funny because when I was talking to Ms. Kincaid, and when we were in our Zoom meeting, and I said, well, you know, she said, well, I kind of know what I want. I said, okay, that's good. I said, because most people, what happens is they don't know what they want. That's what they'll tell me. And then when we start to build them something, and I don't want that, I don't want that. But I asked her to go out and start looking at some similar type of sites. She said she did that, and it really gave her some ideas. She had some ideas of her own, and that's great. All right, that she's a lot more on the ball than a lot of people are when they start thinking about getting a website for themselves. All right, so we did that. Notice again, ours I think said browser window. That's one of the things that changed. Not a big thing, but just so you know. All right, it says once we select it. So what they're saying here is once you select this, notice right now there's nothing here. Everybody see that? When I click here, see how it changes? All right. Because that's, for lack of better words, it's typically what's referred to as a properties window. So we can go in there and add some stuff. And we're going to add some stuff in just a moment. All right. So it says what we want to do here is we want to enter 0 for both position X and position Y. So let's do that as we start. So let's go in here. And for position X, change that 50 to a 0. For position Y, change that 50 to a 0. You may or may not have noticed it didn't change much, but for lack of better words, it pushed it up in the upper left-hand corner. That's about all it did. All right? Okay. Then in the size boxes, we want 1024 for the width and 768 in the height. 1024 for the width, 768 in the height. So here's the width, 1024. Here's the height, 768. And you'll notice that after we do that, the size has changed quite a bit. All right? It's now taking up basically most of the page. And that's fine. All right? So next, we're told as we come in here, it says the browser window will span all of the wireframe space using this. Set the zoom level to fit in window. All right. Okay, now the zoom level, that's right here. See, way up on top here, there's 4 magnifying glasses. The first magnifying glass says zoom out. The second magnifying glass says zoom in. The third one says zoom to actual size. And the fourth one says zoom to fit. And it says double click to zoom all to fit. So I'm going to double click on that. And you say, well, it went down again in size. Don't worry about it. All right. It is now zoomed set to fit. Notice in here it still has all of our same stuff. All of our same settings are in there. Now, I'm telling you that there are typically there's more than one way to do what I'm showing you. So if you start to investigate this tool and you learn other ways, that's great. All right. But I'm just telling you, I'm trying to show you what I consider to be the easiest way of doing this to get you up and going. That's my goal here. All right. So we've done all that. We're 4 pages into a 17-page document. It says, once all of the above parameters are set, we will be able to see the following screen. And that's what you have. Now, I don't know if we get this background or not. Don't worry about it. They used to give a grid background like this, and now you pretty much don't have it. All right. In the white space below the address bar, let us create a header. Now, this is one place where it changes a little bit. All right, it says we will use the image control, we will name it image, etc., and it tells you the size. What we want basically is this. Okay, right there. So, how do we get there? All right, the easiest way to do this is to come in here and go up here into your quick add box and type in image. Pretty simple, right? And if you double click on it, in fact, I think you only have to single click on it, it puts it there. Now we're going to change where it is, and we're going to put a heading below it in just a minute. But if you look here, hopefully you notice the little dots here. You can manually change the size. That's totally fine. You can do that. All right. Not only that, Control Z works in here, to undo your last operation. So if you do something and you screw it up, you can Control Z back again. All right. But I'm just following their steps in here. And it says we will use the image control, and we will name it logo. In the quick add box, type in image. We just did that. They want the width to be 139 and the height to be 93. So let's do that first. Again, width 139, height 93. Make sure that's what's highlighted. Okay. So the width 139, the height 93. You'll notice hopefully it's a little bit wider. It's a little bit taller than it was before. All right. All right. Position it at X at 16 and Y at 94. All right. And you can see, looking at it now, it's pretty much in the upper left-hand corner. There's a little bit of margin in there. Not much, but you can see that. Again, when you're doing this, if you don't like that, you can move it over a little bit more yourself. But the idea is, sometimes as a web designer, you may be given a wireframe like this, and somebody might tell you, now build the website. All right. All right. Once done, we should be able to see the wireframe space as shown below, and that's what you have. Beneath the image, for better understanding, insert a label and name it company logo and make the size 15. So we're going to do that. Now, when you look over here, label actually is here, and it used to be in here, but now it's like way over here someplace. I believe, again, we can use our quick add box and type in label here, and there it is. All right, I'm again just going to click once. And you may or may not have noticed it put it right there. So I'm going to move it over to here. Just grab it. They want us to change the size on it. If you look down here, there's the text size. They want you to make it 15, which you can see makes it a little bit bigger. And it says some text. Well, how do you change that? You double click on it. And instead of some text, they want us to put in here logo. Hit enter. All right. And if it looks a little small, you can widen it out if you want to, etc. It's yours. You can grab it in here. There's a thing over here for centering right there. Okay? So you can set that up basically any way you want to. But ideally, when you get done, it'll look like this. Make sense? All right. All right, so it should, I guess I wrote logo. It's supposed to say company logo. My error. So let's go back, and I'll change this from logo to company logo. I'll just double click on it again, and type in the word company before logo with a space, hit enter. There it is. Now it's too small, as you can see, so I grab it, space it out, put it in here someplace. That may not be perfect. It's okay for what I've got. All right, you get the idea, what it is, where it's supposed to be, etc. Hopefully you do at least. All right. So now let us insert the title of the company in a relatively big format. So it says in the quick add box, type in title. So we're going to do that. We're going to come in here, in our quick add box right there, we're going to type in title. All right. And if I click on it, there it put right there a big title. Now that's a silly title. We're going to change that right now, but you get the idea. If you didn't like the size, which is 40, you could change it. They don't tell us to, so I'm just going to keep it the size that it is. All right. Double click the title and put in there, literally write in your company name. Now, if you want, we can type in, because what we're working on is Arrow Bridge Rescue, so maybe we can type that in. All right, so it looks a little more human, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so I'm going to come in here, I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to type in here Arrow Bridge Rescue, and hit enter, and there it is. All right. Next, we're told, as you come in here, we are told that we want to position it. So for X, we want 626, and for Y, we want 107. So 626 and 107. Now, it looks really pretty pushed over, but again, you can always change that if you want to. All right? Says you see the header shaping up. Now please look up on the screen. We're not going to do it in the order they do it here. We could right now go add this. We could go add this. It's not a problem. We can add it. Boom. I can show you in 2 minutes and you'll do it as well as I do. The point is, then you're going to have to go in and make changes to it every single time. You know, which is kind of silly. Why don't we just do it once when we're all done? And we'll just end up copying it. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Okay? All right. So, again, we're going to hold off on this, but we will do this about us, and we will do this. All right? Now, how do you do this? Again, there are several ways of doing it. I'm going to show you again what I consider to be the easiest way. So I'm going to come back over here again, and I'm going to type in title. And again, I'm going to click over here. And where it's got a big title, I'm going to put that, whoops, not that. I'm going to put that big title that's right here, I'm going to put it down here. Now, that's my main title there, my Arrow Bridge. So I don't want this one to really be 40. So I'm going to just cut that down a little bit. So I'm going to cut it down, let's say to 32. Okay? So I've got now a big title in there. And the next thing we want to do is we want to put in some text, as you can see. All right? So we've done all this. It says we see the header shaping up on the screen. Yeah, that's all fine. Then we want to add this separator. We'll do that in just a minute. But first we want to bring in this. Okay? So how do you do that? Well, we come back in here. And I think we just type in text. And grab it, drag it over. And notice we can make it bigger. We don't want text. It's not, hold on, it's not text. And I just did this Friday, but I don't know. I'm brain farting right here. Sorry about that. Let's see. I don't think it was a text area. Let me look in here. We'll find it right away. So, block of text. There you go. See it right here? Block of text. Grab that and drag it down. What you'll notice as you drag it over, it's the equivalent almost of lipsum text. So we can do this. We can do this and make it a little bigger, etc. Everybody cool with that? All right. Again, may not look exactly, but it's shaping up. It's not terrible. Next, they want us to put a horizontal rule right here. All right. So I'm going to come up into the quick add, and I'm going to type in rule. And it says, do you want a horizontal one or a vertical one? We want a horizontal one. So I'm going to click on it. Notice it puts it up here. And of course, I did a bad job of that, but I'm going to click on it, drag it down, and for lack of better words, pretty much drag it all the way across. That makes sense to everybody? All right. So if you look, we've got most, not maybe all, but most of our first page is already done here. All right. So let's see, what else do we have? We just did that. Says zoom in by one level. Yeah, they say you can go and position it whatever way you want. That's not that big a thing one way or the other. All right. So we've got, did we change our title here to Project Products and Services? No, I didn't do that. So I'm going to double click on that and change that title to Products and, not Products, Products and Services. All right, and you can see it immediately changed. Okay. By default, it only gives it in the area, it only gives it the room that it needs. You can stretch it out. All right. And again, we could make this bigger if indeed we wanted to do that. All right. Okay. All right, so underneath that, we want to put company vision. See this? Now, let's talk about the easy way and the hard way to do this. We could go through the same steps we just went through. Would you agree with that? And that'd be no problem. Or I can click on here on the title, do a Control-C, Control-V to copy it, paste my other one right underneath here, double click on it because it's supposed to say company vision. Okay? So now that one's done. And it looks like it's not exactly lined up with where the other one is. So I'm going to move that over just a little bit. So now it looks pretty good. And I'm going to do the same thing with a block of text. I'm going to click on it, Control-C, Control-V, and I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to throw it down here. All right. So literally in about 10 minutes, we created this. Okay? And it wasn't hard. Really and truly wasn't. So that's our first page. That's our home page. Now you might look at it and go, there's no way in hell she'll want that for a home page. No, but you can always, you're starting to learn how to wireframe this and hopefully how you'll be able to make some changes. All right? Okay. Let's do the next page. It's taking a little longer than I thought it would, but that's fine. I still want us to get this. I want us to go through one example as a class. We'll take a break and then we'll come back. So it says add a link bar. We're going to do that later. Okay? So we will do all that. Don't worry about the link bar. We will do it. It says this concludes the home page. Fine. So the next one is the product and services page. Now, what we're going to do to start with, if you would look on the screen, please. Whoops, wrong thing. Is we want to come in here. We want to make a copy of this page. The easiest way, right mouse click on the page here and choose duplicate. Now you've got two of them that look exactly alike. Then right mouse click where it says, on the page and change it from, do a rename. We don't want home copy. We want products and services. All right. Why? Because that's what they told us to name it in the exercise. I know we've already got a products and services in here. Don't worry about it. All right. And again, this very well could be home, contact, etc. That's totally fine. All right. All right. So, yeah, it says new mockup 1. Yeah, we already changed the name to products and services. We've got all this stuff in there, except we haven't yet created the bar, which we will do. All right, let us now create the page element. First, it says highlight the products link from the link bar, and then choose products. So what do we want to do? Let's take a look at what we want. Okay, well, to start with, it looks like at least we don't want the company vision stuff at the bottom. We don't want any of this stuff in here, right there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, make sure that you're in your products and services page. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to highlight here on the horizontal rule, highlight it. Just make sure it's just the rule. Hit delete. It's gone. Click on there. It's gone. Hold it. Click on there, and it's gone. All right. Wasn't hard. All right. We need to remove the unwanted controls. Again, that's what we just did. All right. Copy the text products and services, paste it, and rename it to case studies. So we're going to want to do this down here. Everybody see this? And it's really, really easy. What do I mean? Well, either watch or if you can already figure it out yourselves, go ahead and do it. All right. So what I want down here is I want this to say case studies. So I'm going to click right there. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. Come down here, and I'm going to change this. Whoops. I'm going to change this, come on, to case studies. Case studies. All right. And then I'm going to go up to my logo right here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. Then I'm going to take it down here, and I'm going to put it in 4 times. So I've already copied it. Copy and paste. There's the second one. Paste it again. There's the third one. Paste it again. There, whoops, I don't know why it didn't show it, but it didn't. That's okay. Copy and paste it again. There's the fourth one. Now, just please look on the screen. There's ways that you can come in here. There's different settings that are in here that will allow you to center it across what you're working on. Do you hear me? And that is explained in here. Like I said, I'm just not trying to waste too much of your time. So, all right. So they want us to change this to case study 1, case study 2, case study 3, and case study 4. All right, not hard. Again, probably the easiest way is to come back here again, find that first thing that says company logo right there. I'm going to copy it and paste and bring that down. Move it over here. This will say case study 1. Hit enter. Copy and paste. Change this one to case study 2. Again, copy and paste. This will become case study 3. And one last time. Okay, so now we basically finished a second page. All right, and I looked. That page took us 4 minutes to do. And that was even with me blathering on about what you had to do. All right, we're going to finish this, then we'll take a break. All right, so because we are on page 12 of 17. Okay, so the next one is going to be the About Us page. All right. So let's start with that. The first thing we're going to do is just like we did before, but this time let's copy this one. We'll copy the product and services page. So right mouse click on it, choose duplicate. Come down here, right mouse click on it, choose rename. All right, now I forgot already what it said to call this, but About Us. All right. And click the rename. Boom. Now we've got that one. So, okay, highlight the About Us from the link bar. Link from the link bar to do this. Select the link. No, don't worry about that. We're going to do that. We're going to do all that at one time, so that's not going to be a problem. All right. Remove the product and services label, the block of text, the horizontal rule. Remove the case studies. Make it look like this. Make sense? Just do that. I know we don't have here this bar. We'll do that literally in a matter of minutes. All right. So let's go back to here. We could have copied either page. If it was easier, we could have copied the other page first. Now, with a lot of software, if you don't know this already, like Angie can tell you, like in Visual Studio Code, or Visual Studio, I'm sorry, not Code, the regular Visual Studio that we'll use next semester, you can lasso things where you hold down and you can highlight a bunch of stuff at once and then hit. Lassoing doesn't work well with this software. If you say, well, I did it and it worked, then I'm glad for you, seriously. But I've done it and it's very problematic using it. So I just typically remove things one at a time. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, but I'm sure that it's gone then. And I've got what I want to have there. Okay. They want another big title in there that says About Us and a block of text. Well, you already know how to do that, right? So we're going to come in here. I'm going to come over here in my quick add. I'm going to type in title. There it is. I'm going to click on it. There's my big title. I'm going to move it down here. And again, I'm going to cut the size down. That's the equivalent of an H1 right here. There really should only be one H1 on a page. All right, that's why I'm cutting down the size a little bit. So I'm cutting it down again to 32. And it says we literally want it to just say, I believe, About Us, and then have a block of text here. Yeah, About Us. All right, so double click on it. About Us. Hit enter. Now we want that block of text. There it is. So I'm just going to grab it, drag it over here. I don't know how much I'm going to want to use from here, so I'm just going to keep it small like this. All right, I can always drag down and make it bigger. It's not a problem. All right. They've got a horizontal rule. Okay, fine. Let's put it. If you want to put one in, put it in. I don't like, in fact, I don't even know if they want you to put it in, but we can. All right. So it says we want to create a label that's called our team, a label. So it's going to be smaller. All right. So let's go in and first create this label. And again, the fastest way is to just click in your quick add, type in label. There it is. Click. There's our label. And they want it to say our team. Now this is one time, maybe I do want that a little bigger. All right, notice by default I think it's 13 pixels. All right, I'm just going to bump it up a little bit to like 18. It's not much. There's bolding and italicizing, etc. in here if you want to do that too. I don't care. But I'm just saying we could do that if we wanted to. All right? Okay. Next. It says create a label. We did that. Then in the quick add box, type in user and find the user circle. All right, so in here, type in the word user, find user circle, click once, and they want us to put in, I think it's 5 of them. But before, we could just copy it 5 times, but they're going to want us to change the dimensions. So why don't we just set one up the way we want and then copy it 5 times? If you want to do it the other way, you can copy all 5 and then change each one individually. I think that's a waste of time, but if you want to do that, you can. All right. See, we're on page 15. It says when we insert the icon in the properties, we will be able to set the icon sizes. All right, so we want XL selected, and we want the position somewhere around there, but the key thing is that size, 64 by 64. Now, just so you know, can you go in there and manually change it? Of course you can. But if you look up here, all right, notice right here, see this? Everybody see where I'm pointing to here? This has got a size indicator. So if I move it down, you can see how small it gets or how big it gets. They want us to set it to extra large, which automatically sets it to 64 by 64 for us. All right? So there's the beginning, at least, of our team. It says align them as shown. So they want 5 of them that look pretty much like this. All right? And again, I'm giving you a lot of latitude. You're not turning this in. This is just an example. And again, if you came in late, I've also provided the finished version. You've got it sent to you this morning. I want to spread those out a little bit more than they are. All right, there's all 5. And it probably could be moved over even more, but you get the idea. All right? And again, like I said, there is a spacing thing in here that you can use on these two. I don't remember where it is, but there's a way that you can really pretty it up even more than it is right now. All right. Now the About Us page is done. So the last page that's in there, I think we're on the last page now, yeah, is the Contact Us. So this is what we want. Let's do this. Let's do this and do it in about a minute or two, really. So first thing we're going to do is exactly what we have been doing, all right? And that is I'm going to right mouse click on the current page we're on, the About Us. I'm going to right mouse click on it, and I'm going to choose Duplicate, all right? And then I'm going to right mouse click on the new page, and I'm going to change or rename it to Contact Us, all right? And looking over here at what we want, okay, we want all this stuff. That's fine. All right, and we want this. So what is that? Okay, it says the new elements we use. Well, one of them is a map. So that's the first thing that we're going to want. So I'm going to come over here, and first of all, I'm going to get rid of what I don't want. So I don't need this About Us, don't need that text, don't need any of the Our Team stuff. All right, and I'm going to come up into the Quick Add, and I'm going to type in Street Map. There it is. I'm going to click once, puts it in there. Boom, I'm going to drop it down here. Okay, I've already got the map in right now. All right. And we want it to say contact us right there. Okay. So I'm going to move that down. I'm going to grab my company logo right there, copy and paste. And I'm going to make this say contact us. Okay, so that's in there. Next, we want this thing that says address and then a block of text. All right, so I'm going to again copy this. Looked like it was about here. It's not great, but that's fine. Address, so that's about right. Grab that block of text that's right here. Throw that in here. Move it here, move it down a little bit. Looks about right. Not perfect, but again, we could always play with it if we wanted to. All right, so what else is left? Looks like a horizontal rule. All right. So I'm going to come down here. Again, I'm in my quick add. I'm going to type in rule. Choose the H rule. Stretch that across most of the way there. Again, I can always change that a little bit if I want to or need to later. I don't care. And what else is left? Send us a message. Well, that's a little bit bigger, but it still is fine. So I'm going to just I'll grab the logo. That's fine. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to go move that down. So down here, it's going to say that send us a message. Okay. Looks like it needs to be widened out a little bit. So there, now it is. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more things we have to put in. All right. These are labels. Email address, subject, and your message are all labels. Okay, so I'm going to put those in first. Doesn't matter, of course, the order in which you do these. All right, so there's email address. I can always move that over if I want to do that, etc. You know, make it smaller. You get the idea. And what else was there under the email address? It had subject. I like that one better there. Okay, so there's that. Again, notice if I want them both right justified, for example, I can move this one over, or I can just click on here and I can tell it to take it and right justify. All right. However you think it looks better, it's yours. All right. So if you think it looks better like that, then of course do it like that. All right. Now what else is left? Let's see. There's another one here that says your message. What happened there, but something did. All right. Then I want to come in, and in my quick add right here, I want to do two things. First, I want to come in and type in text. And I want to choose text input. You see the ones that are there? I want text input. So I'm going to click. There it is. I'm going to drag this out. To me, it would look nicer if that was centered and they were about the same size. So I'm going to make one. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to, basically center it around the other one. Yeah, that isn't perfect, but it doesn't look terrible either. All right, so those two are done. Then I want to come up here one more time in the quick add area. And I want to put in a text area. Okay? And there that is. I think that's where they wanted it. Again, not perfect, but you get the idea. All right? So one thing left. Sorry, I'm keeping you a little longer before your break, but let's go in and create that the navigation bar. All right? So it doesn't matter which one of these we start on. We're going to make it once and we're going to copy it to the other three. Did you all hear me? Now, the advantage of doing it the way he did it was now we have to make sure we want to position it in the same spot every time. You don't want it where it's herky-jerky. When you look at it, here it's a little higher, here it's a little lower, etc. But that's not a big thing. All right. So coming back here then. Oops, I keep bringing up the wrong one. All right, so I'm right back here. Again, it doesn't matter which one we do it at, but I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to come up in a quick add, and I'm going to type in link. All right. And we want a link bar right here, the second one. So there it is. All right. You can probably guess what we're going to do here. So notice my positioning. I'm just going to try to make sure it's about in the same spot, but you get the idea, right? So there it is. Okay, notice if I double click on this, it doesn't matter which one I choose. See this? Double click. It gives you that list. Those are what we want in there. So we want home, we want products and services, we want about us. I think it was just about, but I think that looks better anyway. And I think the last one was contact us. Now that's done. So the only thing to do is to actually link these to their pages. All right. So go to home here. It doesn't matter the order in which you do this. Home, I want that to go to home. Products and services, I want it to go to products and services. About to about us. And contact to contact us. You see the little red thing that's right there? That means they're basically, for lack of better words, they're active. All right. Now I'm going to grab this whole bar here, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to jump back to the previous page, and I'm going to paste it in. There it is. Again, it's not going to be perfect because I'd have to play with the dimensions. I don't want to do that right now. So that one's in there. But I want to go look in here, so I'm going to click on this again. All right. Well, notice for some reason, I don't know if I put about us in there twice or what, but one of these says about us. That should say contact us. I want to make sure they're all correct. Let me go back to this page and make sure I didn't screw that one up. Nope. All right. So I'm going to copy it again. I'm going to go back to the products and services page, and I'm going to paste it in. Home, about us, yeah. And contact us. All right. And then finally, I'm going to go back to my home page here, and I'm going to paste it in one last time. And again, home, products and services, about us, and contact us. Okay, I think we're done. So what do? Look on the screen if you would, please. Once you finish, you can do it at any time, but we're finished now. So I'm going to click on View, Full Screen Presentation. I don't know what that does. I guess it allows you to look at your settings, but I don't care. So now there I am. So I'm on the Products and Services page. Well, there's Products and Services. There's About Us. There's Contact Us. So like I said, it took about double the time I thought it would take. But the point is, you know, hopefully you all got it. It wasn't hard to do. So let's take a healthy break here. It's about 9:19. Let's come back, please, at 9:35. And when we do, we're going to do two more things, and then the rest of the period's yours. We're going to watch that tape, or that Zoom meeting that I had with Ms. Kincaid, all right? And then we're just going to get into what you'll be doing for the rest of the week, all right? Take your break, please.